everyone, and welcome back to IElTS and ESL Expert TV. And I'm Keith Mason, your IElTS and ESL expert. So we're going to look at another topic today. Hopefully that's one that's going to help you. We'll look at lower level, middle level and higher level, more advanced vocabulary. So we'll try and cover the whole area of weather. Common topic. One of the questions, a recent question would be, describe the kind of weather you like. You should say what it is, where you go in this weather, what you do in this weather, and explain why you like it. So first of all, you'll need to be able to clearly and thoroughly explain your weather. So the examiner will be looking for you to come up with some good words, some good vocabulary around your weather. So what I'm going to do today is go through some words and teach you how to use them, what they mean, and how you can add them to your sentences. So just to start off, we might say I love. So I think I've told you before, rather than just saying I like, I love, or I'm crazy about. Don't think you're going to be crazy about weather. You might be, but better would be to say I love sunny weather. I love sunny weather. I love cloudy weather. Some people do. Excuse me. I love cloudy weather. I love windy weather. I love wet weather. I don't know anyone. I love cold weather. Yeah, some people do like cold weather. I love frosty weather. What's frosty? If you don't live in a cold country, you won't really know what frosty is. So frosty is when the temperature has gone down to 0 or even -1, and the water, the moisture in the air freezes, and maybe you look on the bushes and you'll see frost. You'll see the frozen water on the bushes. It can be very pretty. Sometimes you can walk through the trees and you can see the frost on the trees, and it's very, very pretty, beautiful. Do I like cold weather? I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of cold weather. I like the hot weather. But some people like it cold. Some people like it frosty. I love rainy weather. Some people like to walk in the rain, don't they? Some people do like to go out in the rain, so I like rainy weather. Now here's one my wife does like. I love snowy weather. I love snowy weather. I love it when it snows. I know she looks out the window, it's snowing, and out she'll go so that she can play in the snow. No, she's not a young child. No, she is a full-grown woman. Icy weather. I love icy weather. Well, why would you like icy weather? Why would you love icy weather? Because you might want to skate. You might want to go and skate on the ice. Very dangerous, but that might be what you like to do. So those are sort of some main categories that you might start off your introduction with, okay? So I've done this in sort of alphabetical order, and that's why they're in the order they're in. They're not all linked together, they're in alphabetical order. So Arctic, you might say Arctic weather. Well, in the Arctic, it is -40, even colder than -40. It's very, very, very cold. We might say, and we'll see that word a little bit further on, bitter. It's bitter cold, so cold in the Arctic that you can't stay outside for very long without, I think things will freeze, your hand will freeze and you'll be able to break your finger off, which you won't want to do. But some people, when it's very cold, they say, oh, it's Arctic. Just means it's really, really, really cold. So arid means, it's quite a nice word. It means very dry, very, very dry. So the desert might be very arid. There are some countries where it doesn't rain for maybe all year and it becomes very arid. On to B, balmy. Balmy is lovely weather. It's warm, it's peaceful. Balmy weather is a feeling of, just warmth and relaxing type weather. Biting is very cold. It's like the next one, bitter, like Arctic. It's biting. That wind is biting. That means the wind, as it hits you, it's stinging you. It's so cold, it's biting. Okay, black. Okay, so black, well, normally that's referring to the nighttime, but it can be when the clouds come over in the daytime and it's just completely black, that they block out all elements of sunshine, any light, and it becomes very black. A blizzard is when it's snowing very heavily. The snow is being blown by the wind, so it's coming through very heavily. Breezy, that's when the wind it's not a slow wind, but it's not really strong, it's breezy, somewhere in between. Bright, okay, that speaks for itself when it's light. So Celsius and centigrade are degrees, that's their ways of measuring the temperature. So you talk about Celsius or centigrade, just as ways of measuring the temperature. The other one is Fahrenheit. I'm not going to go into how they work, but they're slightly different, and so they will give you a measure of what the temperature is. Chill, well, that's when it's cold, so there's a chill in the air. Maybe it's not very cold, but there's a chill in the air, it's a bit cold. It's clear, it's a clear day, there's no clouds, it's sunny, it's very clear, you can see for a long way. Cloudy, I think you know when those lovely clouds are in the sky. Damp, sometimes you can go out and it's not raining, but the air is damp, it's damp in the air. Damp, it just means there's water in the air. A deluge is when all of a sudden the skies open and the rain just pours down. We call that a deluge. Dew is that water that's on the grass in the morning. When you get up in the morning and you see water on the grass, we call that dew. A downpour, like a deluge, not quite as much. Dreary, it's just a miserable day. Maybe it's drizzling, cloudy, it's dreary day. So drizzle, that's when the rain is just coming all the time. It's not very heavy, but it's quite light, but it's just all the time, and it just makes you get very wet. Drizzle. Droplets of rain, those just the single droplets of rain. Sometimes just before it starts, all these droplets of rain is coming down. A drought, when there's no rain. It hasn't been rain for months, maybe years, is a drought. And it's very dry. Dull. So when you go outside and it's dark, it's a bit dark, the sun's not shining through, it's dull outside. Fahrenheit I mentioned. Fall, well, that's a time of year, so that's autumn in England. Fall is autumn in England, it's fall in America. Flood, when it's rained so much that the water has stayed on the ground, and you go outside and you're underneath the water. The water is maybe in the road and everywhere is flooding. Maybe the fields are flooding. Flurries of snow. Oops, what have I done there? Press something. We'll carry on, don't worry. Flurries, yeah. So when the snow comes down, fluttering down, we call it flurries of snow. Fog is when it's starting to get cold at night and there's moisture in the air, or in the morning, there's moisture in the air and you can't see very well because the moisture is sort of in the air and it's creating a sort of a mist, a fog. You can't see very well. Sometimes you can't see a few yards in front of you. So the fog can be very bad sometimes in Britain. Force. So force is a word that is used to measure the amount of wind that is coming. So it is a measurement of wind. Forecast, that is looking to the future. So what the weather is going to be like tomorrow. The weather forecast. I'll go through these quite quickly. So freezing. When it's very cold and you can see maybe the ground is starting to freeze up, there's frost on the ground, the weather is freezing, it's really cold, freezing cold. Sometimes freezing rain, so we call that sleet. When the rain comes down, it's not quite snow, but in between snow and rain, freezing rain, we call it sleet. I think I've mentioned frost in the morning. When you go out and you see the frost on the grass or on the trees, the frost on the trees where the water is just frozen. A gale is when it's very windy, very, very windy. It's not quite as bad as a hurricane, but it's very strong windy. Gusty is when it's not windy, then it's windy, and then it's not windy, and then it's windy. It's gusty. The wind is coming in gusts. So hail is when the rain freezes and it comes down in stones. Call them hailstones, and that's hail. Haze is when it's very hot, and that's sort of maybe the ground, maybe the road. You can see as you look ahead, it's just wobbling. The air above it is wobbling. It looks like blurred, the air above it. That's called a haze. Where am I? Headwind, that's when you're going into the wind. You're walking into the wind, it's a headwind. Heat wave. Heat wave is when it's been hot for a long time. So for weeks and weeks it's been hot. We call that a heat wave. I'll do high tide, hot, humid. Humid is when the air is hot, but it's also sticky. It get very wet, and that's when it's humid. A hurricane is a very, very strong wind, very strong, maybe blowing down buildings, maybe in a hurricane. Lightning comes from the sky when it's raining, and you get thunder and lightning. So thunder and lightning go together. You hear the thunder, or you see the clap, see the lightning. We call it a clap of lightning, a clap of lightning. Mild weather, that's when it's not cold, it's not hot. It's quite somewhere in between, it's mild. Maybe you go out in the winter expecting it to be cold and you'll say, oh, it's mild weather. Mist. So mist is similar to a fog. A mist is that when you look across the water and maybe early in the morning, you can't see very well because there's sort of a fog across the water. That mist. A monsoon, when the rain comes down so hard, maybe even for a prolonged period, a monsoon. Muggy weather, that's when it's hot and probably humid as well. We call that muggy. Overcast is another expression you can use when it's cloudy. Overcast. Pouring with rain, pouring down with rain, loads of rain. A rainbow, yes, that's that beautiful semicircle you see in the sky with colours. A rainbow, the colours of the rainbow. Scorching hot, very, very hot. Showers, just short rain. It's not very heavy, just a little shower. Oh, it's just a shower. Sleet is like it's the same. It's when the rain is freezing. You call that sleet. Okay. So it's not quite like hail, it's when the rain is freezing. Slush, that's what you get on the floor when the sleet has been coming down. It's not snow, it's a wet snow, yucky, horrible, wet stuff. Okay, snowflakes, snowstorm, I'm gonna go on. Temperate, a temperate climate is one that is not too hot, not too cold. It's a nice, pleasant climate. It probably goes between, I don't know, 15 degrees to about 25 degrees, a temperate climate, a nice pleasant climate. Temperatures we've talked about. Thermal is talking about heat. Thunder and lightning, thunder clouds, thunder showers, thunderstorms, they're all what happen when it's thundering and lightning. Tsunami. Okay, sorry, I've gone a bit ahead there. A tornado, another very strong wind with rain, a strong wind with rain. A tidal wave is what you get when you get a tsunami. So a tsunami is when that big, huge wave comes along and causes destruction on the land.